some other shit, you got it. You make these other hoes irrelevant, you poppin'. Don't never let a hater tell you different, cause you know it. Yo, I'm Tone.
And I'm Tia, and we are Them Damn Robinsons.
We want to thank y'all again for coming in to tune into our channel. We just need y'all to go ahead and subscribe before you do anything. Just go ahead and subscribe. In the right bottom corner, you're going to see a red button. Just click subscribe.
And we are truly sorry for the wait, but we are back at
We're beginning our relationship series 101, and we're going to be talking about 3 different topics for this first video. We're going to be talking about the foundation, transparency, and the importance of keeping your relationship between 2 people. But it is okay to have at least one person you speak to or for count to outside of your union.
So, foundation. A foundation is important when it comes to anything. Whether you're building something, you're forming something, the foundation is the most important key. And it's the most important key in relationship as well. A lot of people get together on a rocky foundation and the relationship never lasts, and so they get to this point where they're forcing it, or you end up saying, oh well, the honeymoon stage don't last long and this doesn't that last long. But it's all because of how you got together with that person is the reason why your honeymoon or your happy season with that person did not last long. Our foundation was built off trust, communication, and just loyalty and love. We came into it not being friends, but forming a friendship. We were open with each other, and we were just at the point in our lives where we were tired of playing games. So when you get to that point in your life, when you finally meet someone that, you know, is at a point where they're ready to settle down and have a relationship, if everything runs so smooth and you can actually start to form that foundation.
And another thing on foundation as well is that you have to be found on who you are as an individual before entering that relationship. You want to know who you are. You want to know what you bring to the table. You also want to know your worth. You want to know your value. You want to come to the table having a clear understanding of, you know, what you are looking for in a relationship, because also within your foundation, you want to have some short-term and long-term goals. The foundation is what's needed to, when things arise, you can fall back on the foundation because it's solid. It's just like when you're building a house, you want to make sure the foundation is solid so it won't fall down. But you have to know who you are when you come into a relationship, because whatever spill or baggage you have prior, it will spill into that relationship. And that's what you don't want to happen. You want it to be clear, solid, no baggage, and keep that line of communication open.
Yeah, so you made a really good point about knowing who you are. I definitely took some time to get to know myself, to know me as just an individual. And you have to also maintain that throughout the whole relationship. Of course, when you get with somebody, you guys become a union and you start using, you know, each other's slang and stuff like that, and building friendship as a couple with other people as well. But it's still important for you to have your friends, your own identity, without it always being, oh, Tia and Tone. No, people know me as Tia, people know him as Tone. Every time we go out, it's not always Tia and Tone. So you have to maintain that self-identity because you don't want to get lost within your person. Also, as far as knowing what you want is very important, because if I know what I want, there's no way that he can persuade me to do things that is against my goals, my long-term and short-term goals. And there's no way that I can persuade him to go against his long-term and short-term goals. So it's always important to know what you want. And also it matters because and he begins to do anything that's not in the ideal image of a man that I like and that I find is a deal breaker or something, that I need to be strong enough to say, hey, I don't like that. You know, this can't continue. We need to change some things. just allow us to actually have a conversation about it, and me staying true to myself instead of caving in and just going along with the flow of things, even though that I'm not happy. So you have to have a great foundation with yourself, and then as well, that will help you build a great foundation with your partner.
And lastly, on foundation, I think it's imperative that in the beginning you guys create that safe word, just to bring you back to reality, to let you guys know that hey, we went too far. Always create that safe word, so within your foundation you have that safe word that can always bring you back and calm down and realize who you in front of, or who you in talking to, or who you talking to. So now we're going to talk about transparency and what can come from transparency as in a conflict-free relationship.
So transparency is, for those who may not know, it's just laying your cards out there and being completely honest with yourself and honest with your partner. Let them know, certain things that you have dealt with in the past. Not so much as going down memory lane and just hashtagging everything out, letting them know, oh, this guy did me wrong or this female did me wrong. No, it's basically telling them like, okay, I've had some issues as far as abandonment issues. I've had, if I was sexually abused, or, I have anger issues. I have alcoholism. Sometimes I have a problem with dealing with drugs, or, just anything in your life. You have to let them be aware of what they're getting into. Even if you have worked on yourself and you got to the point where it no longer bothers you, but you never know what type of triggers that you may have in the heat of a moment between you and your partner, because you care for this person. So anything that person does to you will hurt more than someone on the street. So it might be easy for you to brush it off if it's somebody you don't know, but someone that you care and you put your trust in and you depend on, it can hit home. So it's always good to let them know, so that if you do act a certain way or you respond a certain way, they do have a vision or just some type of knowledge of where you're coming from.
Yes, transparency is very important because you want to gain that respect as well. Ultimately, once you get with someone, a lot of people putting on the front to where you're not being completely honest, and then you have people creating their own image of you in their head, and then that image starts to die down once they see the real you. But if you're transparent from day one, you're talking about them demons that you're battling, you're talking about your financial situation, you're talking about your sexual situation, any and everything that you want a person to know about you, so things won't switch up when they get to those 3 months or those 4 months. And whenever you get into a situation where you're feeling uneasy or you're feeling uncomfortable, you have to be transparent about it. You naturally get with someone and feel like, oh, they know me, so they can read my mind, and you don't have to say things. No, you have to be okay with being transparent. You also have to protect yourself from your partner by being transparent. Anything can be resolved with an effective conversation, an effective communicator, to where you're not just speaking just because you want to get things off, but you're also allowing that person to finish what they're saying, and then you rebuttal off of hearing everything that they're saying instead of just listening and then you trying to respond right away. But transparency is where you're comfortable with your partner to tell them everything, no matter what they might get from it as far as their feelings, because you might not want to say certain things to your partner because you're trying to protect their feelings. But tough love is the best love.
So conflict will arise within your relationship, but a way to minimize the conflict and just not keep arguing over the same thing is to take accountability and be transparent with yourself on the things that you did. If we arguing, I know that he may say some things that hurt my feelings, but what did I do? What did I say before he said that made him react in that way? Because every action has a reaction. So I will be transparent with him, or just, take accountability. So it's never just one person saying, I'm sorry. No, you both need to say, I'm sorry, and take blame and take accountability of the part that you played within the situation. There's never a time where there's just going to be one person just maxing and you did nothing. Like, you throughout the whole conversation or the whole argument, you were calm, you were polite. There's no way, because that person wouldn't have that energy or wouldn't even have that motive to react the way they did and blow up. So anytime you go through something, apologize. And don't be sarcastic about it. Like, truly mean your apology. It will go a long way. And then, adapt and just adapt in, what am I trying to say?
It's okay. But even with conflict, if you really want to know if what you did was wrong in a situation, while you getting into in that situation, just imagine if your situation was being broadcast right now. Would anybody be able to look at your situation and say, this is what you did wrong, or this was your fault? And would you be okay with that?
It does matter what I had to say.
Right, it does matter what she had to say.
And I remember, it's adapt and compromise.
Right, you have to adapt and you have to compromise, but you don't want to find yourself in a relationship where it's conflict about the same exact thing over and over and over again, because those small things become big. And conflict is okay. Conflict can be healthy. It's just about how long it lasts, and the actions that you take after the conflict let you know what type of relationship you have, if you guys have a real connection, because the connection is what's very important as well.